Did Marinette get brain damage? Illustrhater. The second episode of season 6 was just released, and I have a lot to say. As I watched it, I felt a weird mix of nostalgia, comfort, and despair. The episode is closer to season 1's over-the-top animated and childish feel, contrary to season 5's more serious tone. Many say it feels like we're taking steps backwards, while others are happy to see the show be more like it used to be. My feelings are mixed, so let's dive in. We start off in Lila's little evil lair, and Lila is out here writing in her diary using some secret code language, and poor Nuru has been through it. God damn. Meanwhile, Marinette and Alia are on the case, trying to uncover the new Hawkmoth's identity. But because Lila is the GOAT at covering her tracks, they have nothing to go off of. Alia then reminds Marinette about their double date, but she's not feeling it and would rather take a nap. Marinette, on the other hand, refuses to be left alone with Adrien for many reasons. Didn't they resolve this like 7 episodes ago? Guess not. They end up going anyway. Marinette is a nervous wreck, Adrien is just vibing, Alia is chill, and Nino... Oh, Nino. Well, hello there. Is it just me, or did he get a glow-up? Adrien must have handed over at least 20% of his good looks to his best friend. Alia and Nino immediately peace out to go be heroes, leaving Adrienette all alone. Marinette panics because her Riz is non-existent, while Adrien is, once again, neutral. Every time a superhero shows up during their date, Marinette runs off like it's a track meet. This happens multiple times until Adrien gets depressed and runs straight to Ladybug. Kinda suspicious there, but okay. Side note, the money he left for the food flew off, making the owner extra pissed. Meanwhile, some girl with shitty art skills gets akumatized due to child neglect. The owner was her dad, by the way, so I guess we can blame this on Adrien. Nino and Alia investigate previous Akuma victims, trying to dig up dirt on the new villain. But surprise, surprise, Lila has been using different voices to stay untraceable. Didn't know the butterfly brooch could do that, but well played, Lila. Ladybug and Cat Noir catch up and discuss their love lives. Cat Noir is clearly in desperate need of some dating advice. Then we reach the boss battle of the episode, Illustrhater. Her power is basically just a knockoff version of Evillustrator, because her skills are lacking. She's like 5, so let's cut her some slack. While fighting, the heroes try to get some intel from her, since she's still in contact with the villain. But the second Lila threatens to take away her powers, she shuts up. In the end, Ladybug tricks her into trading her magic notebook for some basic art supplies. After she is saved, they then gas this kid up, making her feel like Picasso or something, and that poor waiter still hasn't been paid. Back in Marinette's room, Alia is frustrated by how little they learned. But Marinette, now in her mature era, calms her down by pointing out that they at least know how the villain disguises themselves. Then Tiki casually spits up another Quagatama, gross, this time for Alia. Marinette officially names Alia her second in command, declaring that if anything happens to her, Alia will take over as Ladybug and Guardian. Alia reluctantly accepts, but really hopes that day never comes. We then cut to Marinette and Adrien's second date attempt, and things are looking awkward. Adrien finally speaks up, this time to tell Marinette sorry for being a bad boyfriend, and that she is free to dump him if she wants to. Bro. Thankfully, Marinette reassures him and says that this is really her fault, since she is such a control freak, and apologizes for not being chill. They then agree to figure this relationship thing out together, step by step. Aw, this is kinda cute. After the credits, we see Lila, or more like her hands. She's obsessively chanting the same words over and over again. You'll never find us, you'll never find me, you'll never find them, or something like that. Here, it's revealed that there are more people on Lila's side than we realized. Perhaps a secret organization similar to the Supreme from the Shadybug and Claw Noir special. And that's where the episode ends. Overall, I give this episode a 4 out of 10. Here's why. Although I myself enjoyed the nostalgic goofiness that I missed from season 1, I'm also disappointed we still haven't moved on from nervous Wreckinette. It feels like we are stuck in a cycle of obsessive controlling nonsense from her. It seemed like they had moved on from it in season 5, and the show was later going to build the characters further, Marinette in particular. The nervousness was addressed in season 5, and she worked on it. It seemed like she had taken a step forward. but struggling on a solo date with her boyfriend to this degree when she was so chill in all of these moments prior doesn't make sense. Yes, being flustered is normal, but they have to not get dementia when writing a script for a new season. Remember what arcs you set up and the growth you established in your characters, and build on it further. It feels like we're stuck in limbo. Honestly, the development of Marinette has been god-awful. They don't know what to do with her. She's stuck in the jealous, nervous wreck comedic relief archetype, and making her grow from it would make her character honestly boring to watch because of how little depth she has. So I think they just have to keep this shtick up or really change the fundamentals of Mary's character. When it comes to Adrien and Marinette's relationship, what they're struggling with touches on something very real. Being overly controlling and cautious at the beginning of a relationship can easily become the downfall of it if you don't address those problems. I can actually relate. In my first relationship, I was so worried about how I was perceived by my boyfriend because I admired him so much. I grew this constant need for control. I needed to control his image of me to make him like me. But this mindset was just damaging because I couldn't be myself and was so scared of saying or doing the wrong thing that all our interactions ended up being extremely flat and boring. And I think this is what's happening with Adrien and Marinette. I touched on the fact that they have zero chemistry in a previous video, and this is the main issue. They are both nervous and scared of doing something wrong. Therefore, they act superficial and timid, or in Marinette's case, like a freaking lunatic. I like that Miraculous Ladybug is touching on these topics, because I think many girls can actually relate. It still doesn't excuse the poor execution though. One thing I loved in this episode, yes, loved, is how they're actively trying to figure out who the villain is. And it's not just Marinette. Alia and Nino too. In past seasons, it seemed like they were just chilling and fighting bad guys for fun. They didn't really have a plan on how to defeat Hawkmoth or expose his identity. There were moments they tried to dig deeper, but we can't call it an ongoing plot. Another thing that makes this new plot incredibly intriguing is that Lila is not just a mystery to the heroes, but also the viewers. We are pretty much just as clueless as the characters. All we know is she has a million moms and a strong hatred for Marinette and Ladybug. Why she wants the Miraculouses or who she works for is unknown, even to us. It adds an element of mystery that keeps the show interesting. I'm honestly clueless to what Lila is plotting. She went from boyfriend stealer to light Yagami in just a couple of scenes, and that's impressive. The one thing I think is keeping fans engaged at this point is Lila. Everyone hates the new animation, and how little progress we're seeing with our two-dimensional cast of Parisian teens. Of course not you, Alia. I love you. The mystery of Lila, Cerise, whoever, is what's keeping us hooked for season 6. The way she talks to her victims is so entrancing. It almost feels like we in the audience are getting manipulated with them. She speaks in such a captivating and intentional way. I really love villains who are at this level, and without her, I probably wouldn't bother with this show anymore. I realized something a bit philosophical while watching this episode. It occurred when I saw the scene where Adrien transformed into Cat Noir to join Ladybug. I think putting on a mask is more than just getting some superhero title. It's like freedom for them. Adrien, after his horrible date with Marinette, sought Ladybug to cheer himself up. He transformed into Cat Noir, and suddenly he seemed more human in those few scenes compared to the first half of the episode where he was supposedly himself. When they put on the mask, they leave behind their previous identities. Marinette, the anxious control freak who was bullied most of her school years, doesn't exist anymore once she becomes Ladybug. Same with Adrien. The perfect and timid son of Gabriel Agreste is gone, and his personality does a full 180. They are freed from their past identities, and maybe that's why they seem more authentic and human when they're Ladybug and Cat Noir. This is also why Lady Noir is often deemed as the best ship in the show, because Adrien isn't overly perfect and Marinette gains enough confidence to not feel the need to control everything. Perhaps this is obvious to you guys, but I never thought too deeply about this. Some people love to put on costumes or masks just so they can free themselves from the identity they're chained by. We're all tied to an image people have of us in some way. Even when we're alone, it follows us, and this can make growing as a person especially hard. It's like we feel safe in this persona. It's what we're used to, and going beyond it is scary, even if we try to change in positive ways. The flaws that are damaging Marinette and Adrien's relationship are gone. They're a better match once the masks come on. I predict they will face more challenges along the way, and we will see both of them eventually hit a breaking point. They could break up this season, and honestly, I'm calling it. After the breakup, they could then go to their backups, which is each other, just in superhero form. Imagine how awkward that reveal would be. Actually, I think it would be the best and most interesting way to reveal their identities, now that I think about it. They would have dated for a little while, grown even closer, moved on from their exes, and as it's time to finally take that next step and show who's behind the mask, plot twist! It would be fun to see how they figure it out, especially if their relationship ended on really bad terms. The animation, by the way, is starting to look weird to me too. I was the #1 advocate for this new style and defended it like a knight. But the lip movements are starting to freak me out. And the eyes are getting more and more uncanny the more I look at them. Adrien has it the worst. I think that's also because he is the heartthrob of the show, and there are mainly girls who watch it for him specifically. Adrien's looks are of higher importance because girls like to self-insert themselves into these kind of shows. They want him to look handsome because of it. Kinda weird when the older fans complain over his looks though, because he is supposed to be like 15? But hey, that's humanity for ya. We're all weird. The rendering is still better though. And it's unfair to say it's worse than the previous animation, because objectively, it's just not. People are forgetting how horrible some episodes looked, and just comparing it to some of the better ones like Puppeteer 2. It's mainly nostalgia. They are so attached to the original designs that anything new is just instantly unacceptable. It has to be perfect to get a thumbs up from most fans, but that's just hard to execute. Over time, I think we will get used to it and look back at the earlier seasons and question why we thought it looked remotely decent. In conclusion, I think we're moving backwards. The Marinette's goofiness is kind of nice in a nostalgic way, but at the same time, it's very redundant. I hope we get some surprises from these kids and some actual development that sticks. Lila's role as the final boss is incredibly intriguing, and what's keeping me excited for now. The best plot device is their search for finding this new villain, and I like that they're trying to uncover the mystery together as a friend group. I still have hope, and I still think this could be one of the better seasons of Miraculous Ladybug. Anyways, what did you think of this episode? Share your thoughts in the comments, and as always, till next time.